Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Star Watch, which is a weekly astrological transit report. For those of you who are new here, my name is Jane. Thanks all for showing up. So let's take a look. Now, this is not necessarily the most dramatic week. This will probably be a very short video, actually. It's not the most dramatic week. I don't think we have tons of stuff going on to be concerned about. I think first of all, we don't have any planets changing signs. We don't really have a moon. We have a moon on the 1st, so we'll talk a little bit more about that next week, the 1st of June in Sagittarius. Mostly what we have right now are just aspects. So the first one that I'm really excited about is Mercury coming conjunct Uranus. Now, right now it's about 9 degrees apart, but as the week moves on, we're going to start feeling the onset of that Uranian energy even that much more. Now, this can be great because Uranus tends to breathe life into things. It tends to bring things into the consciousness. And I have actually loved this Mercury retrograde, not necessarily because it didn't come with its own inconveniences. It's still a Mercury retrograde after all. But what I loved about it was the presentation of an alternate path, the presentation of new ideas, the presentation of things coming to your mind that you never ever thought could show up for you. And as Mercury makes his way out of his shadow phase and makes his way to this conjunction with Uranus, I think there is going to be a sense, or at least a strong desire for freedom that these alternate pathways that have shown up for you over the past month or so could possibly lead you toward. And we are really thinking about freedom, especially financial freedom right now with Jupiter here in Taurus. Okay, we are certainly thinking about our financial situations and how to improve that and how to get ourselves to a place where we can expand our revenue stream so we can live a life more on our terms. And with Mercury, Uranus, you might have been presented with an idea, a business idea, a creative idea, whatever the case is, that you either never, ever considered ever in your whole life, or you had thought about it, but you had rejected it a long time ago because maybe it didn't seem plausible. Whereas right now, it's actually quite plausible. A lot of experimentation is on the docket for the next few months for us. Okay, it's a great time for you to say, maybe I'm going to embark upon this journey, not necessarily because of the results that could potentially be there, although I know you're hoping for those results, but more so because the process itself is so enticing. The process itself of doing something, of creating something, of becoming someone, right? The process itself is so intriguing. And it feels right. And I think a lot of people might be facing something that challenges their current life as it is, but also seems so attractive. It seems so doable. It seems so exciting. And especially with the sun in Gemini, experimentation and playing around and just dipping your toe in the water and researching and learning and talking to people and brainstorming and all of those things are very well supported. And actually, with the sun being an aspect with Saturn this week, coming into this square over the next couple of days, there is going to be kind of a sense of seriousness about it. Like, I'm seriously going to research this. I'm seriously going to talk to this person about this option. I'm seriously going to see how I can integrate this new path into my life somehow. Now, keep in mind, and I've said this several times before, and if you're a member of my Soul Seekers group, that big, long, hour-long video that I did with Jupiter and Taurus, I did mention, that this isn't a time where we're throwing our whole old life away, because Jupiter in Taurus is going to demand stability. It's going to demand, that things kind of remain the same, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to be branching out. In fact, actually, this is a perfect time to be branching out because the things that are working and sustaining you and helping you to survive are actually going to stay intact. There's no threat to that right now. So the new things that are coming along, you are safe and secure to explore without completely destroying your whole old life and putting yourself in a risky situation. So the transition energy right now is very smooth if you are wanting to make a transition. The evolution process is very smooth right now as well. And a big part of this is the fact that Jupiter and North Node are conjunct, okay? The North Node, as we know, often pulls us toward a destiny. And when we have a big planet, I don't even just mean like an outer planet. I mean, actual in size and gravity, big planet like Jupiter, the biggest planet in our solar system, coming into that North Node, which doesn't happen all the time, right? I think I calculated this for my Soul Seekers group as well. The next time Jupiter comes into conjunction with this North Node will be over here in Sagittarius. So Jupiter is going to have to come all the way through all the way up to Sagittarius before they meet again. So the path, like I say, it's so intriguing because Jupiter is like expanding and magnifying it. And the desire is probably pretty strong as well. The desire to go down that path. Okay, and I keep saying path and pathways. That's going to be especially relevant throughout Gemini season. And you'll probably get sick of me saying, oh, these pathways. But that's really what Gemini is. It's pathways that connect different nodes. Like you have one node here and one node here. Gemini is where that gap gets bridged. So you are bridging a lot of different gaps right now, whether you realize it or not, whether you're just doing it consciously in your mind or if you're actively working. Many of you are probably actively working to bridge those gaps because Saturn is going to kind of demand that right now. And also Mars in Leo is definitely going to demand that as well. So Mars is coming off of this opposition here with Pluto. And as he continues in through Leo, and he comes, and he's also in a square here, adding tension to the Jupiter North Node conjunction, and he'll continue to do that this week. So it's just, I don't know, that desire to get out of where you are that you don't like being. Now, some people are content with most things in their life, but there could be one aspect that you're not happy with. Maybe it is your financial situation. Maybe it's your work life. Maybe it's a group of friends or a situation within your family, or maybe it's a health situation, or maybe it's your living environment, right? Whatever the case is, Mars in Leo is like, get me out of here and I will create, that's Leo things, right? I will create whatever I need to create in order to do so. There's a lot of unstoppability that is possible for you right now. Again, you're going to have to kind of lean into that. This reading is to help bring it up into the consciousness so you can start, thinking about it a little bit. But if you want to be unstoppable with your creations, in your developments, you can be unstoppable. And I don't know that this is going to require a great deal of thinking for most people. This is a matter of doing. And if you're someone who struggles, like if there's like a neurodivergent thing going on, if you struggle with what your mind is saying and then getting your body to do it, I think generally speaking, this week it might be a little bit easier, more naturally to do it. To kind of match your physical actions with what your mind is saying that it wants. I'm not going to say that's going to last. I think a big part of that is Mercury and Uranus, but once Mercury kind of comes off of Uranus, that may settle down. And then once Mercury comes into Gemini, that might kind of kick back up again. So there might be a little bit of wavering in that. I don't want you to say, oh, well, Jane says I'm supposed to be this way. It's just kind of, there's fluctuations there. But generally speaking, getting your body to do what your mind is telling it to do is well supported right now. Okay, I don't know that we have a lot of dreaminess going on. We don't have a ton by way of healing. Venus is now coming off of this square here with Chiron. And even still the past week when Venus was building up to this conjunction with Chiron, or not conjunction, this square with Chiron, I don't know that this was indicative of like, oh, you're going to be going deep within yourself and you're going to be doing all this deep shadow work. I think right now the stars are supporting, like, understanding that, yeah, we're never all going to be completely all healed, but that we are healed enough now to move on. And I think Venus coming into this square made that really apparent, that you don't have to be so deep in the healing process right now. You can be a little bit more in the real world. You can be a little bit more working with your hands on a day-to-day, more mundane basis. You can go out and learn new things and apply it. And it doesn't really have anything to do with your past. It doesn't have anything to do with where you came from. The only thing now is how do you make improvements? How do you make improvements to your current circumstance moving forward? And maybe it is just Gemini, which is what we call quote unquote lower mind. And when we say lower mind, what we mean is just what's going on today. This isn't the most philosophical time. We don't need to be all up in the clouds pondering our existence and where we came from and what is God. We don't need to be doing all of that. It's just like, go live your life. And actually that might make life a lot easier. It might make it easier to progress and easier to create and easier to take so much pressure off, right? Where you don't have to worry about anything other than what's right in front of you. This is what it is. It's a lot of support for just being present. That's it. Just a lot of support for being present. So I just say go. And like I said, this is a short video because it's just like, just go live your life. Just go be happy. Go do the things where your heart is calling you to do. You don't have to tear anything apart this week. You don't have to have any big conversations unless for you individually that's needed. But generally speaking, you don't have to go have any big conversations. You don't have to put yourself in any super uncomfortable situations. It's just a really nice week to start integrating new things by exploring new things. And that's it. Okay? I'm going to leave you guys there. Thank you so much. I hope you have a good week, and I'll see you next week. And again, we'll talk about that full moon in Sagittarius. And that's it. Talk to you soon. Take care.